Welcome to you all, and I'd also like to make a special point of welcoming Brian Hooper, who, as you can probably see from the programme, is a singer and songwriter, drawing on the folk tradition, known the Christian faith, and a natural sense of humour, he tells us. He will be entertaining us, and he will also be on the first selection, which is Hanger Farm Poets with Brian Hooper. Now, can I ask you all, please, if you would leave applause until the end of each section, and I'm sure that we're going to have a very interesting afternoon, and so I will introduce you to Myra, Dina, Michael, Hazel, Pam, John and Brian. Ladies and gentlemen, Hanger Farm Poets and Brian Hooper.
The first poem is by Madeline Ida Bedford, and it's about the munition girls who were paid 20 times what the soldiers on the front were paid. Munition wages. Earning our wages, yes, £5 a week. A woman too, mind ya, I calls it dim sweet. You're asking some questions, but bless ya, here goes. I spends the old racket on good times and clothes. Me saving? Elijah, you think I am mad? I'm acting the lady, but I ain't living bad. We're all here today, mate. Tomorrow, crack's dead. If fate tumbles on us and blows up our shed. Afraid? Are you kidding? With money to spend? Years back I wore tatters. Now it's silk stockings, me friend. I've bracelets and jewellery, and rings envied by friends, and a sergeant to swank with, and something to lend. I drive out in taxis, do theatres in style, and this is me verdict, it's jolly worthwhile. Worthwhile for tomorrow, if I'm blown to the sky. I'll have repaid me wages in death, and passed by.
If you want to know the sergeant, I know where he is. I know where he is. I know where he is. If you want to find the sergeant, colonel, I know where he is. He's hanging on the If you want to find the colonel, I know where he is. I know where he is. I know where he is. If you want to find the colonel, I know where he is. He's pinning another medal on his chest. I saw him, pinning another medal on his chest. I saw him, pinning another medal on his chest. If you want to find the captain, I know where he is. I know where he is. I know where he is. If you want to find the captain, I know where he is. He's home again on 7 days leave. I saw him, home again on 7 days leave. I saw him, home again on 7 days leave. If you want to find the quartermaster, I know where he is. I know where he is. I know where he is. If you want to find the quartermaster, I know where he is. He's drinking up the company's rum. I saw him, drinking up the company's rum. I saw him, drinking up the company's rum. If you want to find the sergeant, I know where he is. I know where he is. I know where he is. If you want to find the sergeant, I know where he is. He's drunk upon the the dugout floor. I saw him, drunk upon the dugout floor. I saw him, drunk upon the dugout floor. And if you want to find a private, I know where he is, I know where he is, I know where he is. If you want to find a private, I know where he is. He's hanging on the old barbed wire. I saw him, hanging on the old barbed wire. I saw him, hanging on the old barbed wire.
This is one of my own poems. He didn't make it back. He didn't make it back to the village of his birth, nor walk the field behind the plough, turning God's good earth. He didn't make it back to harvest field, or smell the new mown hay, nor make it back to see the sun, sired when last they lay. He didn't make it back beyond the shout, "Over and at them, boys!" nor say farewell to comrades above the battle noise. He didn't see the bullet as it tore the flesh away, but surely felt the pain it wrought as bleeding and dying he lay. He didn't make it back to England, or white cliffs above blue seas, nor see Empire's Union ensign fluttering in the breeze. He didn't get to see the rows of regimental stones, nor see trenches turned to green grass where now the poppy grows. He didn't see the better world for which he fought and died, nor see their son laid to rest and how his mother cried. He didn't make it back to the village of his birth, and on it goes in perpetuum ad infinitum.
Futility, Wilfred Owen. Move him into the sun, gently its touch woke him once, at home, whispering of fields unsown. Always it woke him, even in France, until this morning, and this snow. If anything might rouse him now, the kind old sun will know. Think how it wakes the seeds, woke once the clays of a cold star. Our limbs, so dear achieved, our sights, still full nerve, too hard to stir. Was it for this the clay grew tall? Oh, what may fatuous sunbeams toil to break earth's sleep at all?
This is a poem by Siegfried Sassoon, and it was a time when we thought it was going to last just a short while. Instead, the war carried on for 4 long years. And this is a poem of satire. Does it matter? Does it matter losing your legs? For people will always be kind. And you need not show that you mind when the others come in from hunting to gobble their muffins and eggs. Does it matter losing your sight? There's such splendid work for the blind, and people will always be kind. As you sit on the terrace remembering and turning your face to the light? Do they matter? Those dreams from the pit, you could drink and forget and be glad. And people won't say that you're mad, for they'll know that you've fought for your country, and no one will worry a bit.
When this bloody war is over, no more soldiering for me. When I get my city clothes on, oh, how happy I shall be. No more church parades on Sundays, no more putting in for leave. I will kiss the sergeant major, how he'll miss me, how he'll grieve. When this bloody war is over, no more soldiering for me. When I get my city clothes on, oh, how happy I shall be. Always eat when you are hungry, always drink when you are dry, always sleep when you are weary, and don't stop breathing or you'll die. When this bloody war is over, no more soldiering for me. When I get my city clothes on, oh, how happy I shall be. No more putting in for furlough, no more applying for a weekend pass. I can tell the sergeant major to stick his pass right up his pocket. When this bloody war is over, no more soldiering for me. When I get my city clothes on, oh, how happy I shall be.
Pilgrimage. Really one for a chap was Grandad Jack, though he never refused a pint if one was offered. 4 years of war without a scratch, a rare achievement. Yet sometimes he would stare through you as if he saw other sights than the common round. Once when beer had loosed his tongue, he spoke of a comrade lost. Best pal a man ever had, my mate Bill. Together they tramped the dusty roads of France, shared jokes and a fag, mud, rats and worse. He told of an attack one misty morning when Bill was struck down in an instant. Mere flesh, no match for lead and iron. Grandad made me promise, gave Bill's name and number. You find him, boy. Pay my respects. I'm too old to do it now. Now here I stand amid neat white stones, rank upon rank in ordered rows. The sun warms my back as we meet at last. Private W.A. Wheeler, regiment and a date. Why did I come? To fulfill a promise and to remember.
At one time, Totton Totton had a memorial, but it didn't have any names on it. So this is called We Will Remember. To honour our fallen heroes, whose names we want to remember, with a permanent reminder, not just the 11th of November, let us see their names written in public view, as a fitting memorial which is long overdue. Set their names in stone, never mind the price. For us, they paid the ultimate sacrifice. So let us make sure their names are never forgotten by the future generations of Ealing and Totton.
Behind a trench in Flanders, the sun was dropping low. With tramp and creak and jingle, I heard the gun teams go. And something seemed to set me a-dreaming as I lay of my old Hampshire village at the quiet end of day. Brown thatch, the gardens blooming with lily and with rose, and the Meon running past them, so quiet where it flows. Wild feats of white fields of oats and barley, and elderflower like foam, and the sky all gold with sunset, and the horses going home. And it's home, lads, home, all among the corn and clover. Home, lads, home, when the working day is over, for there's rest for horse and man, when the longest day is done, and we'll all go home together at the setting of the sun. Oh, captain, boxer, traveller, I see them all so plain, with tasselled ear caps nodding all along the leafy lane. Somewhere a bird is calling, and the swallows flying low, and the lads all sitting sideways, singing as they go. And it's home, lads, home, all among the corn and clover. Home, lads, home, when the working day is over, for there's rest for horse and man, when the longest day is done, and we'll all go home together at the setting of the sun. Well, gone is many a lad now, but many a horse gone too. But all those lads and horses in those old fields I knew. For Dick fell at Givenchy, and Prince beside the guns, on that red road of glory, a mile or two from Mons. Dead lads and shadowy horses, I see them just the same. I see them and I know them, and call them each by name. Riding down through Swanmore when all the world's aglow, and the lads all sitting sideways and singing as they go. And it's home, lads, home, with the sunset on their faces. Home, lads, home to those quiet, happy places. For there's rest for horse and man, when the longest day is done, and they'll all go home together at the setting of the sun.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. sure you'll all appreciate, ladies and gentlemen, that very moving tribute to those involved in the Great War, a horrible act at the beginning of the last century. It's nice that people do remember. It's rather poignant that at this time, the century, since the start of the First World War, that people have thought about those poor individuals who were involved. But now, ladies and gentlemen, to lighten up the proceedings, I'd like to introduce you to the Hampshire Farm poets, quick choir. David, Graham, Michael, and John. Ladies and gentlemen, Hampshire Farm poets.
King Charles, God bless our good and gracious king, whose promise none relies on, who never said a foolish thing, nor ever did a wise one.
The top of the world is quite old, and said to be terribly cold, but what's it to me? I'm unlikely to be there for any climates to behold.
I bought a slow cooker. It's great. Cooks anything. Last week I cooked rabbit. It was awful. Maybe I should have skinned it first.
The problem with living alone, you get up, wash the dishes, clean the toilet, sweep and dust, change the bedding, and in 6 months you have to do it all over again.
A wife. Come, said Tom's father, at your time of life, there's no longer an excuse for playing the rake. It is time, my boy, you should think of taking a wife. Why, so it is, father. Whose wife shall I take?
In Ireland, upon St. Limerick's Day, in 5 lines the natives they pray. They recite, then they laugh, about a telescopic giraffe, and then they merrily go on their way.
I love beef. You know, I was dead lucky with that slow cooker. I could have cooked a cow.
Beware of the man who says, in other words, he is merely starting afresh.
The Garden of Eden. Why did we think of clothes before? Asked Adam, removing Eve's. Why did we ever think of clothes? Asked Eve, laundering Adam's.
The thinker was perched on his rock, considering the whereabouts of a sock. If only I knew, he thought, I could almost have 2, but he was suffering from that old thinker's block.
Don't be fooled. Too much of a good thing can be wonderful.
We never tried to keep up with the Joneses. We drag them down to our level. It is cheaper.
The village burglar. Under the spreading gooseberry bush, the village burglar lies. The burglar is a hairy man with whiskers round his eyes. He goes to church on Sundays. He hears the parson shout. He puts a penny in the plate and takes a shilling out.
A professor from Limerick University was studying biodiversity. His students were divided and opinions collided, which made it seem 100 times worsity.
Donald Mackay had been out on the hillside. 48 hours nobody had seen him, so we had a lot of people out searching for him. Donald Mackay! Donald Mackay! Donald Mackay, with the Red Cross! Up popped Donald and said, I've already given.
scratch the surface, and if you're lucky, you might find more surface.
Ladies and gentlemen, quick fire. A nice little easy-go session after the more serious start. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, taking us into the image ball will be the Hanger Farm poets Pam and Jude.
This one's entitled Election Time. There must be an election coming up shortly. Our local councillor, so round and portly, has not been seen for most of the year, but now on television he is sure to appear. From planting a tree to a charity fair, you can be sure that he will be there. Open a newspaper and there he is, giving his opinions on that and this, seizing every event as a photo opportunity to show how well he is serving the community. This is called the Testwood Pike. It is said that in Testwood Lake lurks the mighty Testwood Pike, undisturbed, asleep most of the time, but who knows when it will strike. Fishermen along the bank for the dream catch sit and wait. This monster pike avoids being caught, but always takes the bait. A dog jumps into the water after a stick is thrown through. A mighty splash, the surface water breaks, and the dog disappears from view. People walk along the footpath and talk of where and when, of mysterious disappearances, reporting sightings now and then. On Halloween, and this comes down, shrouding the lake in the dark, a shadowy shape can be seen, and the sound of an eerie bark. It is said that in these waters lurks the mighty Testwood Pike, undisturbed, asleep most of the time, but who knows when it will strike. Shivering in a doorway. Shivering in a doorway, glancing up at the sky. Is it going to rain, or will I remain dry? I sit here in my rags, appeal to passers-by. Some even cross the road and look me in the eye. My reduced circumstance, do you care how or why? Poverty is not catching, you can help if you try. Only by the grace of God, it could be you, not I. And this last one is called Golden Days. Coloured ripe berries, fruit of hip and haw, squirrels gathering their own winter store. Bright shiny chestnuts in their prickly case. Nature seems to start slowing down her pace. Shimmering cobwebs in the morning haze, when the mist rises on Michaelmas days. Children get conkers from the trees they shake, and kick fallen leaves for the sound they make. Spiralling down from the wind in the trees, come the soft fall of the sycamore keys. A time now to reap the seed that was sown, and harvest the crops of food that has grown. Red, gold and russet, leaves of every hue, show their true beauty when the sun shines through. Standing in awe at the marvellous sights of breathtaking sunsets and bright moonlit nights.
Hello everyone, I'm going to read this poem because it speaks to me of the colours in nature, and I like to paint things like that. And it's called Seasons by B. Williams. The seasons change as nature unfolds, the colourful mystery of power untold. Unknown timings for magnificent change, unknown the power, how to explain. The sweeping strokes of the master's brush, great scenes change in a single touch. From brilliant colours to browns and greys, forever changing, never stays. The sun's bright rays and the tanning tones spread far and wide the nature's poem. The splash of colour where he's been, leaves that tremble from the trees, to come again with soft spring breeze. The white of snow that melts away, the rains that come and floods that stay. Summer, autumn, winter, spring, the tender strokes they sometimes bring. Sometimes the strokes become so strong that seasons tarry far too long. As seasons pass and go, we see the artist's work with license free. With these great scenes he leaves behind his changing tapestry for all mankind. And now I'd like to read a poem by one of our Hanger Farm poets called All I Have by Richard Earley. It's only a small poem, but it speaks with a very loud voice. Judge me naked, judge me without the trappings of society, for beneath the glittering layers we are all the same base material. Judge me for who I am and not for what I appear to be. Take me or reject me for my humanity, for this is who I truly am. I am not the clothes I wear, nor the position I hold, or the knowledge I've gained, or the mistakes I've made. I am the love I have gathered, and the love I have given. These are the attributes I lay before you, for they are at once my greatest assets, and truly all anyone has to offer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're now coming to the interval. Refreshments, free raffle are open apparently. I've got to sell on the point, so if you'd like to make your way through to there, there'll be lots of goodies available.
No,
We do the
yeah, fine, it's all right.
20 minutes, 25 minutes, John.
20 to 25 minutes. Just before our part.
I thought you were talking about the